Interphase Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, Dagger Law, and the Frank E. Smith Funeral Home.
Hello and welcome to Fairfield Today. My name is Rick Schneider, community educator with Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care. We are the home of the Pickering House. In fact, we're recording today's show out in front. Joining me today is a fellow communicator, Kim Shook. Kim, glad to see you.
Well, it's great to be here with you today.
I'll tell you, with two community educators, we're going to educate some people today.
Educate the community today.
Absolutely. And I've been doing this for a while. You've been doing it for a while. And I think over the years, we covered the three counties, and I think we've covered them pretty well.
Yes, Fairfield, Hocking, and Perry.
Yep.
Fairhope.
Yep, people don't realize that. Fair for Fairfield, HO for Hocking, and PE for Perry.
Yeah.
So, and I know there's a Fairhope, Alabama,
Is there?
for what that's worth.
Okay.
So, yeah, don't go down there. We're right here in Lancaster. But as far as educating the general public, and we educate the medical community, and you deal a lot with the doctor's offices and nursing homes. So you focus a lot of your work on the medical community, I guess.
Yes,
And-
very much so.
And, I guess I've found sometimes there is some, I'll say, misunderstanding as far as what we do. And we do work with the physicians when they have one of their patients on service. So how do you contact the doctors? How do you meet them? I know you, lunches or?
Yes, we most generally we go around all the area that we serve and talk with all the physicians in their offices, and mostly we just either stop in or we schedule luncheons with the physicians, and that way we can have some one-on-one time with our physicians that would potentially have patients that are showing a decline in their health and need hospice and palliative care.
Mm-hmm. And, it is interesting. We have a different perspective than the doctors do. Their mentality or their reason for what they do is to fix people.
Yes.
So we try to emphasize how we can work with the doctor and allow them, they still can maintain contact with their patients.
Yes, we very much want to stay connected with the physician that has cared for their patient all those years. And then when they need to come on hospice services, the physician can follow them, or our medical directors can follow them too.
Yeah, and it is an assurance to the person who's ill that they will still have their family doctor who understands their personality, if nothing else. Of course, everybody involved knows the medical history, but the doctor also knows their personality, their family background, and those little tiny things help us when we're caring for somebody, for the simple reason we care for the whole family.
Right.
Not just the person who's ill.
Yeah, and the physician, they know some, traits of their patients and different symptoms or allergies or things that they have helped them work through over the time of their care at the physician's office with that particular provider. And so that's always good to get some back story or history of a patient and their health conditions over the years of their life.
Oh, yeah. And, since we're talking about this area of our organization, palliative care really falls under what we were describing. In that palliative care, we maintain contact with your family doctor, and we more or less act as a liaison. So, we were talking about when somebody's on hospice care, and we understand the doctor knows the family background. With palliative care, we go into their home and we can relay information to the doctor.
Yeah, it's good to have our nurse practitioner go in and check patients that are on our palliative services, and they can report back to the physician any signs or symptoms of things that they're noticing from one visit to the next. And that's good to have someone on palliative care that has a chronic illness or recurring readmissions to the hospital, and someone that's missing their doctor's appointments. It's just good for our nurse practitioner to go in and check the patient and just let the physician know how their patients are doing in between visits. So it's just a good comfort for the family to have that as well.
Oh, yeah. And, Anthony Penrose was on one. He's our I guess he's held several positions. He now is the nursing director in the Pickering House, but he has done work with palliative care. And he said the nice thing is that we work with the doctor. We give them our visit notes when we visit, so we work with them. We don't work, I don't say assisting. It's kind of a very good back and forth.
It's just a good partnership that we
absolutely.
have with our physicians and the patients and their families.
And we can convey to the doctor, we've noticed change in maybe housekeeping. We've noticed change in different things that used to take care of and now they don't, which might indicate either the illness is progressing or maybe there's depression involved. And it really is an asset how we work with the doctors and the family. And I was trying to think of the word at this age. Things come and go.
Oh, they do.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I should sign up for palliative care. But palliative care basically is for any illness, a chronic illness that is incurable, and there's not necessarily a time parameter. With hospice,
Right.
It's 6 months or less, and with palliative care, it can be for any length of time. So it does really. One of the things Anthony brought up was that it reduces hospital stays, because as we visit the patient, we can notice changes in between doctor visits.
Yeah, check their meds and their vitals and just make sure how things are going, and they can chart that, and then they'll let the doctors know about that. And
And they can make suggestions, and many times we have, talking to Alicia, who's one of our CNPs in the palliative care, she's mentioned how many times we've eliminated the need for a hospital stay because we intercepted the problem before it developed to that point. So we do have, we're talking about our relationships with the doctors. We were talking about palliative care, how we educate, and we educate the community regarding palliative care.
Yes.
Our name, Fairhope Hospice and palliative care.
Right.
And so we also we educate the community in things that the families need to know about, like living wills and paperwork.
Yes, we do education out in the community for advance directives, and that's to make sure that people have their affairs in order, preferably sooner than later, because it's good to have this information done before a crisis happens, because you don't want to have to be working through who your healthcare power of attorney is when you're in the ER and you've got loved ones sitting there trying to figure out who's going to be the spokesperson and get your living wills done. And
so maybe I should look into that, you're saying? Or
everybody needs, you need to have your affairs.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm busy telling everybody else.
Healthcare power of attorney and your living will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we have all the paperwork for that as well. So anyone out there in the listening audience that would need or be interested in getting information on the healthcare power of attorney and living will, give us a call and we can meet with you in that way. Or we do them at various places around the community. At Olivedale Senior Center, we typically have those workshops and things in different places around the communities.
Okay, yeah, and that's something very good to know. And our social workers, they assist, I guess, as you want to call it?
Yes, the social workers are really big with the healthcare power of attorney and living will for the advance directives when they're working with the families. When we have an admission, our social workers, they go over all of that throughout the process and make sure that the families have all that in place.
Mm-hmm. And the social workers, if we go backwards a little bit for a minute here, they help with the palliative care as well.
Yeah.
When you have palliative care, you don't just have our nurse, but you also have access to the social worker. So if maybe a disease is somewhat progressing, they are available to assist way back earlier in the disease process. So the doctors, the social workers, everybody is at play, and when we educate the community, we discuss all these things.
Yes, it's a team approach when folks sign on our service for hospice care and palliative care. It's a team approach. We have an array of staff that's there willing to help at the most crucial time.
And when you speak to groups, do you ever bring some of our staff along?
I do. It's really good to bring our social workers, our chaplains. We have our grief team that comes out into the community at different various events that we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so and that makes it interesting. Because sometimes we get asked some pretty technical questions.
Yes. More clinical, I would need
Mm-hmm.
a good RN to help me out there on some diagnoses and things like that.
Although I stayed at a Holiday Inn, but anyway, yeah, I always ask for help. And the interesting thing about what we do, there's really no template as far as hospice care.
Right. It's all individually. The care is provided as individual as we can have it to be to help that patient and their family through that.
Yeah, I know I've had surgery before, and the day before you have to do certain things, and afterwards you'll have certain diets to follow, physical therapy to do, and certain things. And it's somewhat laid out. Again, each person is different, but with us, we start from ground zero, where they live, what they like to do, and there's so many variations. When people ask us questions, many times we can't give a pat answer.
Right.
This is what we do or this is what we don't. So it is nice to have the staff with us, and they can explain certain things.
Yeah, it's when we do like liaison luncheons and things with the facilities, we bring our whole team so they know what staff from Fairhope is going to be caring for their patients in that facility.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just good to do a meet and greet of sorts and let the staff know our staff, and that way they have a good rapport when we come to a facility and care for their patients.
Well, I know you do a lot of work with the facilities, both through education and just I'll say bonding relationships. You do different things, like you have a lemonade stand?
Yes, today we're doing our lemonade stand for our staff here at the Pickering House. And so we do lemonade stands around the community at various facilities. And it just brings cheer and just an extra array of sunshine that we can help alleviate some stress in the facilities and things with the patients. And we even serve the patients lemonade too.
Mm-hmm. Too bad we don't have scratch and sniff cameras. We could, let people at least smell the lemonade. But yeah, we're going to have some here, but the wind was kind of changing our plans in a hurry.
Yeah, it's a breezy day, but it's a good day for lemonade.
Oh,
and when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
Bingo. Can I write that down? That was good. Well, I'll tell you what, Kim, I enjoyed the conversation. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we can go into a little more discussion maybe with how we've dealt with the COVID and how things are now returning to normal, and they've changed a little bit for us. So we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Fairfield Medical Center took care of me like I was family.
I was made to feel like I was the only person that they were going to see that day, even though I knew that wasn't the case.
Everyone at Fairfield Medical Center was very attentive. They just put my mind at ease.
I was there for 12 days, and I felt comfortable there.
We were people to them, not a number. They took the time to get to know us, our personalities.
Well, they saved my life. How do you beat that?
I don't know how I could have gotten through it without them.
Experience Fairfield Medical Center.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
We were retiring from Tucson, Arizona, and we made a retirement trip out around Ohio, having decided that's where we wanted to be. And we came across this town called Lancaster, and we fell in love with the downtown area, where the fountain is, and the memorials, and the flags, and all this stuff. And I looked around and I said, there's our bank right there.
There's something to be said about a community bank in your hometown.
Right. If you live in the community, you should do business in the community as much as possible. So it makes sense to bank with the community bank where you live.
Fairfield Federal is the bank to be at. If you live in this town, or any town actually, you want to bank at a local home bank. The employees are happy here, they're conversant, customer service is through the roof. There's nothing more you could ask for.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Dagger Law has been part of the Lancaster community for more than 110 years. This is where we live and work. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and all around town. We consider our clients as friends, and we walk alongside you through challenging times. Whether you're a growing business, a changing family, facing litigation, planning your future, or dealing with land issues, we're right here. We are local. We are trusted. We are experienced. Dagger Law.
Well, we're back. My name's Rick Schneider, community educator with Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care. This is the home of the Picking House, and still with me is our community educator, Kim Shook. Kim, good to see you.
Well, great to see you too, Rick.
It's good to see you because if you weren't here, I'd be by myself, and
No, we don't want you by yourself.
No, it gets dangerous.
Teamwork.
Yeah, there we go. Well, speaking of teamwork, I've been doing this show for, I think it's been around 12 years plus or minus, and I'm going to be retiring at the end of the month, so you're going to be taking over the reins of it.
Yes, I think that's going to be a hard act to follow here, but
now
I'm here to help support however I can.
I appreciate that, and you've been a guest for quite a while, and in fact, you did radio when you were in Canal Winchester on the Chamber of Commerce. You were president.
Yes, I did that about 7 years.
Yeah.
And then I had my own radio show at 90.9.
Okay, yeah, on Tuesdays.
Yes.
Yeah,
so.
that was great. It was nice that they had a different person each morning, and you were always on the Tuesday show. So that'll be interesting. The radio show, you're something you're very good at.
I try to be.
Yeah.
Try to help wherever I can.
It won't be much of a transition. You're very good at what you do, and you do on our Facebook page. People want to get on there. What's called Facebook Live.
Yes, we have our Facebook Live every Thursday mornings. We try to interview a different employee and to let you know what they're passionate about and why they come to work every day and care for those patients on our service.
Yeah, I got to thinking, if you just splice that together, you got a couple TV shows right there.
Sure could do.
We could have the maybe the person do a cameo and say, this is why I like it, and then show the video. But I do like watching those because you hear a lot about people you wonder why they're here. And they say why. And everybody says, how can you do it? Why do you work at Fairhope Hospice? Isn't it sad? And it's not. And people from the nursing staff, the house, or the office staff, housekeeping, everybody gets on there.
Yeah, it's just great. And it's a good way for the community to know what kind of staff we have that work here and what they're passionate about. Because you really have to have a heart for caring for those in this time of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And you really have to have a compassion for the human of mankind.
Yeah.
Because this is a rough time for families, and we're so grateful to be able to provide the care for them.
You know what I constantly hear when they compliment our service, they pick out the little tiny things, like maybe the housekeeper brought in the one guy said she brought in a cup of coffee and it was in a coffee mug. It wasn't a styrofoam cup, and it was those little things that impressed him. And it's the little things that our staff can see. Everybody gets styrofoam cups, but when it comes in a regular coffee mug, that made an impression.
Well, it tastes better out of a porcelain coffee mug.
Oh, yeah. I'm so used to getting the coffee out of a machine. This coffee tastes really good. I think out of the machine it's a coffee product. I'm not sure if it's actual coffee. But anyway, it is nice to hear that what we do. And so I encourage people to get on Fairhope's Facebook page and Facebook Live.
Facebook Lives are typically on Thursday mornings at around 9 a.m. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So try to catch it live, and it's really good.
So Kim will be hosting the show here on out, and I am retiring as a paid employee, but I do volunteer work, and that's where I started at Fairhope back in March of 1997 when Kim was still in grade school. And I just love what we do.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it'll be. I'm glad and honored that I can be of this service here and continuing the TV program that we do monthly.
Yeah, and it really is. It's been an honor for me because we do reach so many people who don't understand what hospice does. And even on the first half of the show, we gave a really quick rundown of, I think people don't understand how we work with the doctors. So there's an awful lot to teach, and you got work to do, kiddo.
Yes, we got some education we can do, and we've got some lined up out in the community, and I know we're working on doing advanced directives at the Pickerington Senior Center in August, probably coming up. So yeah, just lots of good things. In our education, we cover hospice versus palliative. We offer, of course, pain management, symptom management, get those under control. The education, we can educate the facilities on those topics. We have one really good interactive education piece that we do. It's sensitivity on aging.
That's what it was. I couldn't think of the first word.
Yes, and it is just amazing, and it really gets the staff in the facilities down on the level of the patients that they are caring for in an everyday setting at the nursing homes and assisted livings. Mm-hmm. We bring in little pill boxes, and we have candy, and we have the staff wear gloves, and then they have to try to fill their pill boxes. Mm-hmm. Or of course that's out in the home because typically the nursing homes administer the medications there, but it just lets them know that someone with goodness, my mind's blocked. Just
it's those little things you do,
not Alzheimer's, but arthritis. Sorry, that they can't work little things, to do. So
yeah, well, and it's interesting you bring that up, and the sensitivity on aging isn't just very old. Is it pages of your life turn? My wife has arthritis, and she doesn't mind me talking about this, but she is. We have a yard sale, and I said, well, why don't we get rid of a lot of the yarn you had? She goes, I can't do that. She's made kids blankets. She's knitted so many things for the grandchildren, for our children, and somehow giving up the yarn signified she can't knit
because
anymore.
Her hands,
the arthritis, her fingers don't, and she's hoping she get better. And it's just one of those bargaining processes, and I had the same things. So I've had some hobbies I had to give up, and she's giving away her yarn to, in fact, one of our social workers, Naomi, does projects for people on service. She'll either complete their knitting project or maybe sit and knit with them and talk.
Nice.
So she's going to give her yarn that she has left to Naomi. But sensitive on aging, there's so many things that are happening that can't be done anymore.
And they put cotton in their ears so they have a hard time hearing. Mm-hmm. They put Vaseline on some used glasses, and it just lets the staff see what their patients are dealing with when they have cataracts, they can't see, and their vision's blurry and they can't hear. What'd you say? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
I have my hearing appliances in.
But so sensitivity on aging is a really good one that we offer those facilities because that really helps their staff understand more what the patients are going through.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to do that. We offer, of course, our grief support, and we do grief education for staff in the facility so they can kind of know how to talk with their patients that are grieving with a loved one or something like that.
Yeah, and it really is interesting. So much of what Fairhope does developed from volunteers, and we always had grief support, but Tracy Miller, who everybody in the school system knows, was in the school system, and she noticed sometimes with behavioral problems that really couldn't be identified why the child was acting as they were. And once she had her family on service here, one of her parents, she became a volunteer to pay back, and I think as I remember the story, she goes, well, wait a minute here. Sometimes a grandmother died, and the child went to I can remember as a kid, after the funeral we go back to school so we wouldn't miss too much school. Well, maybe the grandparent was very close to the child, and they don't know how to express their sadness. And Tracy, with her experience in the school system, developed a program which we call PALS, Peace, Acceptance, Love, and Support, which helps the school system deal with the grieving children.
Yeah, she has really worked with a lot of kids in the communities that we serve in the schools, and it's just amazing that she's able to go in there and work with the kids.
And do they have to have been through the hospice program, or?
No, there's people in the community that have passed, and their children are going back to school and show signs of grieving, and so that's when the school can call us, and it can be anyone in the community that's had a loss. It doesn't have to be related to a hospice patient.
Well, that's very interesting that, we're not strictly those on our service. We are community oriented.
Yes, and we've started a virtual COVID grief support group, and we even had some people sign on from out in California. Wow. So we are working with people across the country in that regard. So it's just pretty amazing how far stretched our services and care can go. It goes a long way. I
hadn't heard that we got as far. I guess we could go anywhere you want with a Zoom.
With the virtual, yes.
Yeah. So. And, that might be, and they talk about the COVID has changed certain things, and I think the Zoom or the, like telemed, there's different ways of doing it, might become part of our full time.
I think people were going to keep that on.
Yeah.
But we're starting back up with our in-person grief support groups at the Anita M. Turner Center here at the campus of Fairhope.
Yeah, and there's one thing about being in a group of people. If nothing else, you can see the body language, or everybody can be quiet for a few seconds on Zoom if everybody's staring at everybody.
Yeah.
At least the ones I've been on are a little bit weird.
Yeah,
But
it's just a good way to stay in touch with people if you can't get in person.
Yeah, and some of the people who are grieving have a hard time getting out of the house.
Yeah.
And this allows them to still have access and talk about what they're going through and not having to leave. So that's interesting as far as the grief deals with people who have not been on our service.
Yeah, that's just a great service that we provide in addition to all the hospice care, is our grief services for people in the community that are dealing with a loss other than someone on our service.
Yeah, and I don't know, I believe it's free. I don't want to say anything wrong, but about everything we do, there's no charge.
Yeah, there's no cost to having our grief support.
Yeah,
so it's just...
They said, and it's not reimbursed through anybody that I know of. I don't even know if insurance companies do.
No, it's just a good way to give back to the community.
Yeah.
Is our grief support.
Grief is one of those invisible things. You can't prove it.
Right.
You just see what's going on.
You just feel it.
And in fact, we had built the AMT Center, the Anita M. Turner Center, for that purpose. People would come after a passing, maybe 3-6 months later, come in for counseling, and they would come to the front door and just couldn't go in. It brought back too many memories. Yeah. And so we built the Anita M. Turner Center. It's on our campus, but it's downhill a little bit and off to the side, so we can maintain the serenity. We don't look like a big industrial complex here.
Right.
So it is a good place.
And then if anyone out there in the listening area that would like to talk with our grief support, you could just call our number at 740-654-7077. Or if you have someone that you think maybe would be suitable for hospice and palliative care, you can call that number as well.
That's right. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, your call is so important, we answer it.
Yes. We have staff ready to answer the phone. No messages to be left there.
Absolutely. And that makes such a difference. People, when they call us, are generally in a crisis, and you don't have to press 1 for information or anything else. We will get to you and get your answer as you call. So I love working here, and I will be retiring, as we mentioned earlier. I'll continue as a volunteer, and as Kim being the host, I maybe can guest once in a while.
Yes, I'll have to bring you back.
I don't know if I can do this.
And it's just such a joy to be working with you over the years. We go way back. Even before I started here, we worked together. So
yeah,
it's just
that was back you were in
honor.
Yeah, you worked in Canal Winchester in the Chamber of Commerce, and I would call on you and speak at lunches and different things like that. So it's you never know.
We're just wishing you much rest and relaxation on your retirement. Congratulations.
I'll try to. I'm going to be a little busy, but I'll try to.
I'm sure going to miss you being around here, but you need to not be a stranger.
Nope, I love it here. Well, it looks like time's up, so Kim, I'll have to ceremoniously drop the mic. I guess they still do that.
Aww.
I don't want to break it, but Interface wouldn't appreciate that. But I'll tell you what, we're going to have to get going, so I thank you for watching. And remember,
celebrate life.
Interphase Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, Dagger Law, and the Frank E. Smith Funeral Home.